Hey guys, this is my video of the restringing guitar speedrun that was requested of me. Yeah, here we go. So, as you can see, I'm doing this on a Fender Telecaster. It's a Mexican Tele, and I didn't know if there were any other videos of people doing speedruns of restringing their guitars. But actually there's one video that I found, and only one that I could find, and it's a guy restringing an acoustic guitar in 2 minutes. I'm not nearly as fast, so you're gonna have to deal with a little bit more of me. So anyways, about the run itself. So here I'm just doing the standard loosening the tension of the strings before I cut them, and I'm using these nice cutters made for strings, and they also have winders so I can unwind the tuners or wind them quicker. And obviously this is a speed run, so I'm trying to do everything as fast as I can. Now, one of the things you might notice when you watch this video is that I'm actually really bad at restringing guitars. I'm definitely one of those people who neglects restringing their guitars for way too long until my strings just sound completely dull and horrible. So this was actually probably a bigger challenge to me than it should have been. I think pretty much any other guitar player who takes care of restringing their guitars could have done this much faster, but it is what it is. So anyways, I got done taking off the old strings, and now I'm starting to put in the next strings, the actual ones that I'll be using. And the thing here is I don't really know how most people's Telecasters have here, but this, a little bit of awkward camera work going on. My brother was doing the camera work. Anyways, I don't know how much how other people's teles have the holes in which you put the strings, but mine are actually a little bit fiddly. Here you can kind of see that I'm struggling to get one of the strings in, and I actually did a couple practice runs of this just to try to, well, because if I didn't, you guys would have seen me just really suck. So I wanted to try to make it at least watchable and not just completely fail. But anyways, it's a little tough to get the string in. My technique was to hold the actual string very close to the tip that I was trying to get in, and that way I had a little more precision. But all of the different holes in which you put the strings are a bit different, the where they start and they end, or at least it felt like that. So I didn't really find too much of a consistent strategy, but overall I was pretty happy with how quickly I managed to get all the strings in there. Previously it actually took me a lot longer, so this was a pretty good run in that way. I think I only had trouble with the A string, I think, and the B string right here. Oh no. Oh, is that the B string? No, that's not the B string. Or is it? I actually can't tell. I think it is the B string. Anyways, one of these gave me some trouble too. But overall, it wasn't too much of a time waster. So as far as how long does it usually take to restring a guitar, from what I could tell just from reading the comments of that other speedrun video of the guy who did it in 2 minutes, most people were saying that it took him about 25 to 30 minutes, which was kind of surprising to me because this, I think I actually haven't timed this. I'm timing this as I'm recording this, but I know that it only took around 15 minutes. So I guess I was at least a bit faster than some people. Oh, right. So here what I'm doing is I'm actually turning all of the machine heads to be looking at me just for faster speed and consistency. I don't know if this is actually saving me any time in the end because um, you could probably just do them with the machine heads looking wherever and you'd get basically the same speed. But I just thought, just for consistency's sake, it would be easier. And then this is a pretty standard, as far as I know, way of doing this, where you just cut the string 2 machine heads of distance away from the one you're trying to get it in, and then you just wind it. So I don't remember how well I wound this particular string, but some of the other strings got a little rough. The winds were either way too many in a very ugly way, or maybe not enough winds. This one is just, yeah, you can see that's just a monster wind. You definitely don't want that many winds usually, but this is just for speed anyways. I'm probably gonna end up restringing my guitar anyways after this, and actually take care to do it properly. Another thing that you might find interesting about this is I'm actually winding. The strings I'm using are Gibson strings, and this is obviously a Fender Fender guitar. So I think to some people that might be considered blasphemy, but I don't really care that much. So I'm just doing this. I just happen to have like a bunch of Gibson strings. I have a bunch of sets, so I was using those. So I think here you can see that I had some issues actually getting the high E string to wind correctly. Like I said, I'm really bad at this, so I think it slipped out right there, and then I think I tried it again and it slipped out one more time. I forget if I had to, yeah, see? I guess I didn't have to cut it this time, so I just decided, what the hell, I'll just stick more of the string in there. That's probably not very good and it looks very ugly, but I knew I could do it like that without any issues, so I just thought I'll just go for whatever is fastest since I'm trying to do this fast. Now, a thought that just occurred to me about what I was saying before, with people's times being around 25 minutes. Obviously, nobody in their right mind would want to time themselves stringing a guitar because that seems completely useless pretty much. So I can't imagine that their times are very accurate. Maybe they just feel like it takes them that long and it only takes them about 10 to 12 minutes or whatever. But either way, it was interesting. And like I said, I'm pretty bad at this, so I think at least if anything good came out of this was the fact that I got a little better at stringing my guitar, which is not a bad thing. So there's not too much to say about the run at this point. It's just standard stringing of a guitar. I'm doing it with the low E string first and then the high E string, and then alternating between high and low strings. I've heard that that's better for the tension of the guitar of the neck, but the speedrun, the other one of the guy that did it in 2 minutes, he actually just did them in ascending order of pitch, so nothing too out of the ordinary. And it probably would end up being faster too. So if I, for some reason, decided to do this again, and I don't know why I would do that, I'd probably do it that way the next time. There's obviously a bunch of ways to save time here. It's the nice thing about the speedrun is that it's all up to you how fast you do it in terms of your abilities of winding strings and all that stuff. Um, the video is a little choppy, so it might be a bit hard to see how fast I'm winding the strings. Um, I was trying to do it pretty fast, but the day before, you can actually see on my hand, I have a little scratch. The day before, I got carried away spinning that thing really, really far, and I guess I lost track of how much I wound the string, and it ended up popping and scratching my hand. So I was trying to do it a little slower this time, just to make sure that nothing like that would happen. So I think we just have 2 strings left here, so I'm gonna get ready with the time pretty soon. Oh no, of course, still have to tune the guitar. Yeah, I thought probably the best way to start the run would be when I first cut the previous strings and started putting in the new ones. And then I decided to end the run when the guitar was tuned and playable. And I think I even play a little bit at the end. Just very awful playing, nothing interesting at all. Just some generic open chords. Maybe I'll unmute the video for when that happens. If you want to be subjected to that. But in any case, I was just winding these, and one thing that I was pretty happy with is a lot of the strings, I wasn't actually trying to tune them when I was just first winding them. I was just trying to do it as fast as possible to the point where they were tense. And a lot of them ended up being pretty close to the pitch they had to be. So I think I actually ended up saving some time in that way just by pure dumb luck of, I guess, knowing sort of how tense the string should be. So yeah, here we're coming up on 12 minutes, and that's when I'm cutting the last string that I'm winding. It's that that G string. And the hardest strings to wind on this guitar are definitely the highest two, the high E and the high B there. It has that sort of mechanism to hold them in place and I guess make it more tidy and have them not get in each other's way, which is, of course, very nice for everything other than the speedrun, because it makes the technique a little different and a little more slow in my case, just to make sure that the strings get into the mechanism. But overall, obviously, guitars aren't designed to be strung quickly. They're just designed to be played well. So this is just sort of a strange thing to do in general. So yeah, there we go. That's all of those. And now I'm just putting my handy little snark tuner, trying to point it vaguely at the camera. And then here you can see it was basically there. I was very surprised. I actually ended up tuning it down a little too much, and the tuner was giving me some trouble there, just going all over the place. And I don't have perfect pitch or anything, so I can't just tell. So I got it pretty much there. I always try to end the tuning process of each string by tuning it into the pitch, so from a downwards direction, tuning it up into the pitch, because that way it stays in tune longer from my experience. And also I was using the what's it called, the tool there to turn the tuners. If they were far away, like this one, I had to tune it down a couple semitones there, a few semitones, and then I'm tuning it down and up. I wanted to make sure that the guitar was actually in tune at the end of the speedrun, because I could have just sort of, it's around an E and it's around a D or whatever, but I wanted it to actually be in tune enough to be played immediately for whatever reason. So I just made sure that they were all in tune. Obviously this is not something very serious or anything. I'm not very interested in being the fastest at changing my strings or anything. Obviously, being able to do it fast enough that you could do it if one of your strings popped at a gig is ideal. But I think we're coming up in time. I think I just made one more check to make sure the other strings were good, and then I maybe tune a couple of them. And yeah, I think this is the last one. I just had to make sure that my E string was in tune, or I guess around there. Just getting the A, doing it again. I'm sure I can't imagine that anybody actually watched this whole video. If somebody did, then you have too much time in your hands and you should probably be doing something else. That's time right there. 15 minutes and 42 seconds. Not too shabby. And then maybe we can hear me play some chords. Yeah, there we go. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. If you watched it all the way to the end, then you should probably do something more productive with your time. Thanks to Bryan for requesting that I do this. And yeah, see you next time where I won't be doing this kind of thing. See ya.